Hi, I'm Betty. Welcome to Betty's Kitchen. Today we're making asparagus soup. And to start that soup, I'm taking a heavy pot, and into that I'm putting 1/2 cup of water. And I need to bring this to a boil before I add my asparagus. My asparagus is 1 pound, which I've already cut the ends off, the bottom ends about 1 1/2 inches, and discarded those. And then the rest of it I've just chopped up into pieces that are approximately 1 1/2 inches or maybe even less, depending on how tall that particular stalk was. So I'm going to bring my water to a boil. And once it gets to a boil, I'm going to put my asparagus in and cook 3 to 5 minutes. Then I'll be back to continue. It's been about 5 minutes, and my goal is just to get these tender. So I'm going to remove these from the heat and come over here and drain them. You see what they look like in the pot, and there is that juice. We're going to reserve the juice. So I've put a bowl underneath my colander to catch that juice. And then we'll let that sit for just a bit. And I'm going back to the stove where I have a large deep skillet, and I have put 3 tablespoons of butter in it already, and I've melted those. Now I've turned it off so it's not really all that hot. You'd like for it to be nice and hot, but I'm going to be placing onion in. This is chopped onion. It's 1 medium chopped onion. And you can chop it fairly coarsely because we'll take care of the texture later on. Put that into your 3 tablespoons of butter and saute this until it's soft. And it will take about 4 minutes. So I'll get that done and then we'll continue on our recipe. Here are our onions after cooking them for 5 minutes. You can see they're nice and clear. So we're ready to add some flour. This is 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm just going to scatter that around to give it a little bit of a start because we want to cook and stir this, stirring continuously for about 5 minutes so we can get a thickened up roux to go in our soup. Here's our roux after we have cooked it for 5 minutes. It should be nice and golden, and it's going to be very thick because it has, the flour has absorbed the butter and also the liquid from the onions. But you need to cook it that long in order for the flour not to taste floury. So now we have our reserved asparagus juice that we add in and just stir until it's smooth. And it's going to eat that up very quickly. And I'm going to turn this off and move over to the island. Now I can add in the remaining ingredients. I have the asparagus that I cooked earlier, which goes in. And then I have 3 cups of chicken broth, and this could be broth that you've made from scratch, or it could be something that you bought from in a can or in a carton. This happens to have sodium in it, so I'm going to cut down on the salt that I will add. But that goes in. And then I'm just putting in 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Remember, I didn't season the asparagus at all. The salt from the chicken broth is going to season it a little bit, but we'll add a little salt. And then I have chosen white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon, just because I don't want the black flecks in the soup. So we're going to return this to the stove and heat it a little bit to get it together as a dish before we process it. Our soup mixture has come to a boil. You can see it right here. And I have one more ingredient to add, and that is sour cream. So we're going to turn this off because we don't want to actually boil the sour cream. We're just going to stir it around and let it get incorporated into the mix. So there we have 3 tablespoons, and we stir it. My sour cream has been stirred in, and it's going to melt a little bit more than what it is right here. I'm going to let this sit a little bit and cool. Then I'm going to be ladling it into my blender. And I think I can get it all in one portion. Now your blender might be smaller than this. Just do it in batches if you need to. But I'll be back with it in the blender ready to blend up. I have put my soup mixture into the blender, and I'm going to use this button that says soup. So I've got it turned on and plugged in and everything. So just press this and we'll let it go. My blender went off saying the soup is done. So let's take off the lid. You can see it's steaming, so I don't need to return it to the stove. If yours doesn't work this fast or go around this fast, then it may not be as hot and you might want to reheat it on the stove. But we're going to pour it out into a soup bowl. So I'm just going to use this plate that I've prepared with some crackers on it. And look at that lovely asparagus soup. It's nice and foamy because of the blending. That really is a good aspect to the soup. Not that you can't make it totally on the stove, but if you have a blender and you're able to blend it up like that, it's really a nice look to the soup. So I'm going to take a taste for you in just a minute. So here is my asparagus soup. And you'll notice that I have added a little bit of garnish. I have used shaved Parmesan cheese, just in little chips that go in the center there. And then I put some nutmeg, just a sprinkling of nutmeg over this individual serving. It's a huge serving, I'll have to say that. Around it I have some Ritz crackers. So just whatever you like. If you like bread, French bread or something like that, that's really good too. But I'm going to actually go over here to the side so I can get pure soup and go down deep enough that it's not just foam, and take a taste. Heavenly. Even if you don't like asparagus, I think you'll like this because it has so many flavors coming together in it. The onion added some flavor, and then the chicken broth adds flavor. Now you could use milk instead if you'd like to, but I think it's more tasty with chicken broth. And having the white pepper makes it a little spicy. And I didn't even get to my garnish part, but I'm sure that would add a little flavor as well. I think it's a lovely soup, and I did make it for Christmas. And I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but this is one of the things that you'll see on the Christmas table, I hope.